Hi, and thanks for listening to Gossip with Celebrity, brought to you by Celebrity.com. This week, we talk about Sussexes again and the Oscar nominations. Our user feedback is about how awesome we are, and we end with our weekly feature, the comments of the week. The stories and tweets we talk about can be found at Celebrity.com/podcast under episode 40. Hi, I'm Katie, the founder and editor of Celebrity.com, and I write as Celebrity.
And I'm Chandra. I write as Kaiser Celebrity, and I'm the head writer.
Hi, I'm recording this later. As you know, Chandra and I talk on Thursday afternoons, and we release the podcast on Mondays. The Palace released a statement on Saturday afternoon that the Sussexes would not be using their HRH titles. There were more details to it, and Chandra and I talked again on Saturday about the implications of this. So here's that segment of our talk, and after that is the rest of the podcast as usual, with some background and anticipation for the statement that we're talking about now. All right, thanks. So we're recording this Saturday afternoon after we got the announcement that the Duke and the Sussexes won't be using their HRH titles, which is similar to what you said would happen, and you explained it really well.
Right. And I mean, everyone is nitpicking the shit out of everything right now.
Been doing that for months, but yeah.
Yeah. Here is the exact wording from the Sussexes statement, which they gave via Buckingham Palace.
Okay.
The Sussexes will not use their HRH titles as they are no longer working members of the royal family. Now, this is a distinction without a difference. Will not use their HRH title is different than they had their HRH title taken away from them.
Oh.
But it doesn't really matter. They're not going to be treated like other HRH people. And it sucks because everybody else in the royal family has an HRH.
Including Andrew.
You know, Prince Andrew still does.
Yeah, he should have had his stripped.
Yeah.
So they're also going to pay back Frogmore. Some of the renovations to their Frogmore Cottage, they're going to pay some of that back. But the way it was worded made it sound like it was their idea.
Right. And I mean, I think that was one of the reasons why it took so long for these statements to come out and everything to be finalized, because it was a matter of who gets to announce what and how do they get to present it. And so the Sussexes get to present it as their idea.
Oh, you think it wasn't?
I don't think it was, because earlier this morning I read a story saying that the Queen, well, one of the sticking points was the Queen was not happy with how much money they spent on Frogmore Cottage. And I was like, well, then you shouldn't have given them a shabby little cottage anyway. The place needed renovations. Yeah. That's why you gave it to them.
So their statement said the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have shared their wish to repay sovereign grant expenditure for the refurbishment of Frogmore Cottage, which will remain their UK family home. So when they visit...
Well, they're not coming back for a while. If they come back at all, they're going to spend years abroad. As well they should.
Yeah, they should. I feel so bad for them. But like you said, Harry has all that money too.
Right.
So they'll be fine. They'll invest it. They'll do deals with Netflix. It'll be classy and they'll make a lot of money. So good for them.
It's also interesting what's not included in their statement, and they did not include anything about what kind of business deals they'll be allowed to do or not allowed to do. And I think that's interesting. I think the palace would have liked them to say something about, we will never sign a business deal that would blah, 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 blah. They didn't do that. So,
and you wrote about that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to make some deals. And as well they should. And I trust Meghan and Harry to not be tacky about it. Everyone's like, oh, they branded Sussex Royal. They're going to make knickknacks. They're not going to make knickknacks.
She's going to have a home goods line at Walmart.
Yeah, called Sussex Royal for Walmart.
No, she'll do Macy's.
Of course not.
Macy's is
fucking course.
Nordstrom.
Yeah, they'll start a production company called Sussex Royal. That's what they'll do.
Oh, that'd be cool. And I bet it'll be centered around uplifting women and women's issues and family issues. And that'll be awesome. So they said the Sussexes have made clear that everything they do will continue to uphold the values of Her Majesty.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's vague. That's vague enough.
All right.
people are going to talk about Buckingham Palace does not comment on the details of the security arrangements. So,
oh, yeah, security.
Yeah, we're not going to know who's paying for what, basically.
All right, good for them. It sounds like they got smacked a little bit, but they're fine.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like they got smacked, but it also sounds like they got to announce it their way. Yeah. And frame it however they wanted to frame it.
Cool. All right, thanks for talking to me again.
All right, no problem.
Like 5 minutes, that's it. We're done. I don't want to edit tomorrow. I already did all that today and yesterday. All right, take care.
Happy Saturday. Happy weekend.
Happy weekend. I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
So we're back again. We'll be back the first week in February and the last week in February.
Maybe.
Okay, let's leave it open and casual.
Yeah, because I feel like we'll probably have to do another emergency podcast whenever they make a decision about exactly what the Sussex exit does look like.
I hope and I feel like the major stuff is done, but you have a much better instinct for this than I would.
Well, it's going to be a big deal if they decide anything about the titles.
Oh, okay. What do you think they're going to do with the titles? Like, are they going to still be Duke and Duchess? Or will they be like, what are the lowly titles? Or whatever they do.
The most likely scenario is that they keep their Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles and then they just lose their HRH. I think that could very well happen. And it will be a big deal if it does happen. When Diana and Charles got a divorce, she lost her HRH.
Ooh, I didn't even know this stuff. I didn't.
You know, I'm a royal person, so. I mean, I'm not royal. I just.
I'm a royal person.
No, I've been following royal stuff since Diana, really.
Yeah, it's impressive how much you know. So I was married to a German guy, and just that cultural difference was huge for me. Just the different kind of upbringing we had. And I can't imagine Meghan going into the royal household, especially like that Christmas thing where they have to change all day or whatever. You were writing about the Christmas and how demanding it is.
Right.
Like, I could do that for maybe 2 days and I would get really annoyed. How much work is it? And, you know, I had a hard time with a little bit of a cultural difference. That's a huge cultural difference.
Yeah, and I do think that the stories about Meghan's culture shock are probably very real. And just think about how compounded that is. You meet a British guy, you move to the UK. Like, that's huge culture shock already.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, she's got all the royal life and royal expectations. She's got a huge spotlight on her at all times. That poor girl was just screwed.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember when she went to the Lion King premiere and I talked about how it must have just been so nice for her to hear other American accents. And everyone was like, do you think that's a real thing? I'm like,
it is. You're right.
She was like practically collapsing in Beyonce's arms, which I would do too. But
no, that really happened to me. I mean, I was in a country where they spoke a different language, so it was more pronounced. But I was looking at new apartments and I looked at this apartment that these American people were living in. And I was like, saying to my ex, oh, I really want this apartment. And he goes, that's not a great apartment. Those people were just super nice and they talked to you the whole time. And I was like, yeah, that's why. Yeah, you called it. It's a little small, but, you know, maybe they'll hang out with me or something. I mean, we had expat friends, but it wasn't really the same. It is a culture shock to live in another country.
Yeah, poor Meghan.
Yeah, she owned that, though. So let's talk about what happened this week with them. Do you want to do the intro? Because I'm reading it and it's still a lot of stuff that I don't understand.
Well, I mean, the biggest news this week was very early on in the week. It was the big Sandringham summit. It was where all of the heirs got together with Prince Harry, basically. Prince Charles, the Queen, and Prince William. They all had this big summit, but it turns out that Harry actually got there before his father and his brother, and he had a sit down one-on-one with the Queen where he just basically said, this cannot stand. We cannot keep doing this. I'm leaving. I'm sorry, grandmother, but I got to get the fuck out of here.
You're taking some liberties with what happened in that meeting, but I don't think you're far off.
Yeah, I don't think I'm far off either. And then Charles and William came in, and allegedly they spoke for like maybe 2 hours, give or take. I feel like most of that time was probably spent working on the Queen's statement. And the statement was good. It was very personal for a statement from the Queen. She was disappointed in them for making the announcement like that, and she wants them to be part of her, full-time royal worker bee family. But she understands that she understands that they have to get the fuck out of Dodge.
So I was looking at her statement again now, and a lot of people said it was nice that she called them my family a couple of times, and Harry and Meghan, because that's more personable and down to earth.
Yeah, and that's something she's been accused of not being for a large chunk of her monarchy.
Yeah.
I think that's why the wording was so careful. I think that all 4 people worked on it very carefully. I thought it was suspicious that she didn't use their titles, but like I said, I think the end game will probably be just taking away their HRH and keeping the Duchess and Duke of Sussex title.
I think, like, to Americans and Canadians and people who aren't real royal followers, that to us doesn't make a huge difference.
No, it only makes a huge difference really in Britain. Diana was reportedly quite devastated when they took away her HRH.
Oh.
It's a status thing. It means that people genuflect. They treat you with more respect when you have to say, Your Royal Highness, and blah, blah, blah. But, Diana was Diana, and she figured out a way to make it work until it didn't. Not that it's her fault.
No,
not that any of that
fault.
was her fault, but still.
A little bit ago when we were talking about how the Queen screwed stuff up, she absolutely screwed up the response to Diana's death. She came across as very cold.
The Queen is tone deaf. And
yeah.
I think that at the end of her reign, people are starting to realize that more and more. It's too many things on top of each other. The Andrew debacle, it really did damage the monarchy. The royal reporters won't say that, but it did.
Rightfully so, yeah.
Yeah, it changed the way that people think about how the Queen reacts. And this did too. And this is all happening in the past 2 months.
Oh, wow. I didn't think of how compressed the timeline has been, but that is true. And for them, like, they're used to stuff happen at a glacial pace.
Yep.
So that's a big deal for them. So we saw Meghan at 2 different events for women's organizations in Vancouver. And there were just the photos released by the organizations, Justice for Girls and Downtown Eastside Women's Center. And she looks lovely, like she's really connecting with people and highlighting these organizations, and it's nice to watch.
And she was just so low-key, just wearing like leggings and a nice cable knit sweater.
Yeah, I like that sweater.
And I liked that commenters were saying, if she had been doing this in Britain, people would be on the streets marching against her because how dare she break protocol by wearing leggings to an event? How dare she just pop by?
But Kate wears leggings all the time.
Yeah, Kate does actually. But, different rules for Meghan.
Oh, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
So Harry did his last event as a full-time senior royal, and then he launched a couple things which are complicated, and I don't know if I want to read all these words.
No, it's like a rugby thing, and then he announced the new Invictus Games location for the 2022 games. So they're going to be in Dusseldorf.
The rugby it's like rugby for mental health or something like that. So that was nice. And I guess I sort of skimmed their Instagram. Yeah. So speaking of the different treatment of Meghan and Kate, so everyone was sending me links to this BuzzFeed article comparing the headlines to Kate and Meghan, and we'll read some of those. And I asked you, do you want to talk about this on the podcast? And it turns out you've been collaborating with the author of that, and you gave her a significant background for that article, and you never told me. And then later I was thinking about it, and I'm like, oh my God, Chandra, if you ever want to go somewhere else and write for somebody else, I'll give you whatever you want. So I just
No, it wasn't like that at all.
No, I know, but then I started thinking like that, and then I was like, oh my God, just know that.
The backstory is, all right, the BuzzFeed reporter, her name is Ellie Hall, and we started talking like on Twitter and through DMs occasionally when the Rose Hanbury story was breaking last year. Ellie contacted me and whatever. It's really nice. In December, she wrote me, she like basically previewed what she wanted to do with the piece, and I gave her some ideas, and that was it. I mean, it's not like I sat there and co-wrote it with her. I did not. I just gave her some ideas, and I honestly haven't looked that far at the BuzzFeed piece. I was following her tweets on it. And I mean, she did a great job of like the comparison headlines. She had everything laid out on Twitter too. So
that's really cool. You don't have to tell me everything. I just thought that was really cute and funny that you've been talking to her.
I put it in the links too that she was a friend of the blog. I was like, friend of the blog, Ellie Hall wrote this great BuzzFeed story. And that was like a few days ago.
Yeah. Everybody wanted us to cover it though. Okay. The first one, the two headlines are of Duchess Kate and Duchess Meghan both cradling their bump, both in the Mail on Sunday. Oh, one is in the Daily Mail and one is in the Mail on Sunday, whatever. And Kate one says, not long to go. Pregnant Kate tenderly cradles her baby bump while wrapping up her royal duties ahead of maternity leave. And William confirms she's due any day now. And that was in March 2018. And then in January 2019, Daily Mail wrote, why can't Meghan Markle keep her hands off her bump? Experts tackle the question that has got the nation talking. Is it pride, vanity acting, or a new age bonding technique? Okay, that is so terribly slanted.
Yeah. It's cool that we're like talking about the background and how Ellie and I were emailing each other because she came up with this concept of the comparison headlines way before the Sussexes were leaving. She was talking about this in like early December. I think she originally believed it was going to be her end of year summary, and it just kind of got away from her and got a lot bigger. And then it just happened to drop as the Sussexes were leaving. So it was good timing, I think.
And she really highlighted the horrible treatment, and there's so much talk about this article that she's written. And I'd seen some of these headlines, but I didn't know that they took the exact same topics and made them nice about Kate.
Mm-hmm.
So the most egregious one is the next one, and it's the one about the avocados. And we talked here about this avocado headline in another publication, and this was in the Express. And it says, Meghan Markle's beloved avocado linked to human rights abuse and drought, millennial shame. So it's her fault for serving her friend some avocados. And then the Express, the same publication, wrote about Kate's morning sickness cure. Prince William gifted with an avocado for pregnant Duchess. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the treatment over them spending the Christmases with their family versus how they treated Kate. A lot of our readers know about how hypocritical the press has been over the Sussexes trademarking their name versus the Cambridges doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And that's one too. Yeah. We don't have to go over this whole thing, but this is a really interesting article, and it absolutely highlights the terrible nitpicking of Meghan. Since this Sussex has been happening, we've been getting a lot more commenters and a lot of trolls, frankly.
Yes.
And it's baffling to me the things that people find to nitpick Meghan about. Today, somebody commented that, showing up to charity events is not working. What is she supposed to do? You want her to go wash dishes at the restaurant? Jesus Christ.
Why couldn't she have done a garden and spent 6 months promoting the garden? That's work, don't you know? And, no fucking shame for Kate's garden. But we were hearing about that goddamn garden for like 14 months. And Meghan is like legitimately doing work and like raising tons of money for worthy charities. And they just absolutely destroyed her. They ripped her to shreds. because she dared to have ideas and try to modernize. I don't know.
She got shit done, like, so impressively fast. And that must have been threatening to a lot of people who sit on their asses and don't do much.
And just promote a garden.
Yeah, it's not all on Kate. She goes along with what people expect of her, and that's not much, but they also expect her to just go at that royal pace, you know?
Yeah, God help us if, anyone overshadows anyone. That's not royal. Oh my God.
No, it's very American. All right, well, let's talk about the Oscar nominations.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about the Oscar nominations?
Yes, I do. I have not finished watching Parasite yet, but I'm halfway through it at the moment, and it's very, very good.
Did you get to the bonkers part yet?
I think I just stopped it right after the bonkers part happened.
Okay, don't say anything.
I won't say anything else. I'm just going to say
I'm not going to leave that in. So, yes, that movie was phenomenal. I saw it in the theater, and yeah, I love it so much. And I've seen Bong Joon-ho's other work. I've seen The Host and Snowpiercer. I haven't seen Akja yet, but he is phenomenal. He mixes all these genres. That movie, the cinematography is beautiful.
Parasite? The cinematography?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very well shot. I like the set. I like the set design. I think those are amazing.
Yeah. The house. Oh, the house is like its own character.
Yeah, it really is. So, you think that Parasite will not end up winning Best Picture? I agree. I think that it will win Best Foreign Film. And I agree that maybe Bong Joon-ho will be a contender for Best Director. My concern is that Joker is going to sweep. It just got so many nominations, and I feel like people really are just caping for that asinine movie. It is so stupid.
I didn't see it yet. My kid saw it, and he just was like, oh, it's pretty good, but he didn't love it.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's trash. I will accept Joaquin winning Best Actor because I know it's inevitable, and I'm just making my peace with that now. But I will be so disappointed if Joker wins Best Director and Best Picture. Oh my God.
Yeah. I'll watch it. Like, I'll rent it from Redbox or something and fast forward.
No, you can rent it on my Vudu account. I mean, you can watch it on my Vudu account. I bought it.
Oh, thank you.
I also think that people might be sleeping on Quentin Tarantino. His movie was super popular. I think the campaign will start to be Quentin Tarantino's been around forever. He's really respected. All the actors really want to work with him, and he's only ever won screenplay awards. That's the campaign. The campaign will be, why not give him a Best Director award? Because he's actually earned it for his body of work. And by the way, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was a pretty good movie.
It was. I saw it too. I was surprised how much I liked it. Like, the premise seemed so dumb. Yeah, it was too long. There was some stuff that could be cut.
Yeah, but the performances were very good. I thought Margot was actually miscast. Okay. But I thought Leo, that was my favorite Leo performance, I think, ever.
Yeah, he was great. He was vulnerable.
Brad Pitt was okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have like a chip on my shoulder about Brad Pitt these days, but obviously everyone still likes him and everyone's going to vote for him. And my dream that Joe Pesci might end up stealing it is probably just that, a dream.
Maybe.
A beautiful, stupid
beautiful, stupid dream. So I'm looking at the wiki of Quentin Tarantino's Oscar noms, and of course you're right. He's won Best Original Screenplay for Pulp Fiction and Django Unchained.
Yep.
And that's it. And that's all he's won. And he's been nominated for Best Director. This will be his third nomination.
Yep. And isn't that insane? So that's why I think that that's what the Oscar campaign will be. Because it's Quentin Tarantino, the very definition of auteur. He truly changed the directing game and what films would look like in the 90s through today.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wouldn't be mad if he won.
Look, I actually hope Tarantino wins rather than what's-his-face from Joker. Oh,
yeah,
God.
exactly. But his face when Bong Joon-ho won Best Director at Critics' Choice. He looks so mad.
I don't think he was, though.
So
I
mad.
think he probably likes Parasite. I don't know, though. Over the holidays, I listened to an 1.5 hour long podcast where Quentin Tarantino, it was called Rewatchable, the podcast.
Okay.
And it was Quentin Tarantino and two dudes, I guess the podcast hosts. They were talking about why Dunkirk is actually Christopher Nolan's best film. They convinced me of that. Quentin Tarantino convinced me that another director's film was like the best he's ever done. But anyway.
I like Dunkirk. I haven't seen 1917 yet, but I'm going to watch that. It's still in the theater, so I'm probably going to see it in the theater.
That's not Nolan, though.
I know, it's not.
Okay.
I know it's not.
I'm just saying, I mean, it will get confusing because all British directors kind of are doing the same kind of thing right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, and then there's some big snubs for the Oscars. Awkwafina.
Women and people of color.
Yeah, Awkwafina, Lupita, and the one that hurt me the most, Jennifer Lopez. Well, you were mad about Taron
really
Egerton.
Good. Okay, I loved Rocket Man. It had such heart. His performance was so vulnerable and genuine and wonderful. And I have a friend on Twitter, and her handle, ever since I've known her on Twitter, has been "Give Taron Egerton an Oscar, you cowards." So when he lost, she like tweeted out this mad evil clown smoking. And that's all she needed to do. I knew exactly what she meant. Well, not when he lost, when he wasn't nominated. That movie, it was absolutely wonderful. I was surprised how much I loved it. And it was bizarre and a little bit quirky, and it seemed perfect.
Well, yeah. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't speak to it. But I do like Taron Egerton. I think he's a cool guy.
Yeah.
The thing that destroyed me the most is that Scarlett fucking Johansson got 2 Oscar nominations. She got Best Actress and Best Supporting. Why are you going to do that? And then snub Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, I saw Jojo Rabbit. She was okay in that, but she was just this kind of detached mom who was an activist. I don't want to give too much of it away. The little kid in that movie, Roman Griffin Davis, I know this because I wrote it down. He should have got an Oscar nomination, not Scarlett. She didn't even nail the German accent. It was a great movie, though. I recommend that movie. Sorry, go ahead.
The thing that I don't understand is, so Scarlett ended up with the supporting nomination, and so did Margot Robbie, because she's everybody's favorite blonde now. And, I mean, I get that her performance was good in Bombshell, but do you understand that Jennifer Lopez has never been nominated for an Oscar? Not that she does Oscar-caliber work ever. But she did this time. She did that great work.
She did.
In Hustlers.
She can really act. Yeah.
And all of the people, she wasn't really acting. Yes, the bitch was really acting. Do you think she spends her time on a stripper pole for fun? Do you think that that's who she is? She's sitting on the couch with Alex Rodriguez. She's not conning guys out of money.
So she played a New York character, but it looks like she's not acting because she is acting.
Right.
That's what acting is.
Because she's a great actress. That's why people thought
embody.
That's her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you don't think that she deserves the Oscar, can you at least say she deserved an Oscar nomination? Because she did. She did as much or more than everyone nominated in that category.
What about, so Awkwafina, I did not see
The Farewell? I did.
Farewell. Yeah.
It was charming. I did not expect her to get a nomination, which apparently is a controversial opinion. She was good. I thought she should be happy with the Golden Globe she won. And yeah, and that's about it. I liked The Farewell. It was a very sweet movie. She gave a good performance in it. I didn't think it was particularly Oscar worthy. I did finally watch Us, even though I swore up and down that I wouldn't. And it didn't scare me that much. And I thought Lupita did a great job, too. I wasn't super shocked at her snub, but put all together, Awkwafina, Jennifer Lopez, Lupita, it's a pattern of disrespect towards women of color.
Yeah, definitely. And no women directors were nominated.
No.
Yeah, of course not.
But when I was writing up something about Greta Gerwig, I looked it up. She was nominated for screenplay, and Little Women was nominated for best film. and Saoirse
Okay.
and Florence Pugh both got nominated in acting. So that makes it even more notable that Greta didn't get a director nomination. But anyway.
Exactly. All right, we'll watch more of the movies. Ooh, I want to say this. I have a friend who is a huge Austen fan, and she said Little Women was weird and they took too many liberties with the story.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, and it looked weird to me, and I have not been moved by all of the conversation about how Greta rearranged the story. Yeah, I don't approve of that. I don't think you should do that to classic literature. But anyway, I'll eventually see it, and I don't think I will like it that much, but we'll see.
We'll see how much we can see before our next podcast, which is the first week in February. Maybe. We're not going to be committal. I'll see how many of these movies we can get. So let's move on to the user feedback. We got a really nice voicemail from Jackie complimenting us on last week's Sussexes podcast. So here's a segment from that.
Hello, this is Jacqueline. I mostly comment through Twitter, but I just want to tell you how much I appreciate your emergency podcast about the Harry and Meghan story. And it was truly one of your best podcasts. The tweets you read today were hysterical. As always, excellent coverage from you both. Thank you, and take care. Bye.
That was really nice. She didn't need to do that. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
So I was talking to her in DM on Twitter, and she also asked, can you two discuss the possibility that dating a person who owned a house, cooked her meals, went to yoga, got a paycheck, was totally eye-opening for Harry? Also, didn't he inherit like 20 million when his mom died? Harry's other two major girlfriends were hardcore aristos, right? I think Meghan opened up this whole world he never knew existed. And my brother is loaded, and his two kids have never even shared a hotel room. Magnify that like 1,000,000 times.
I think Harry's inheritance is now up to like about 40 million. It's...
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. His mother left him, a significant chunk of money. He also got money from his great-grandmother and some other people. Chelsea Davy and Cressida Bonus, they were both aristocratic girls from wealthy families. I think Cressida, she was living a more bohemian life when they dated. I do think that she lived more independently and she wasn't just, laying around and whatever, not working. She was working. She was trying to figure some things out. I think that was part of the reason why they didn't work out, was because she didn't know who she was at that point.
Didn't Chelsea become a lawyer?
She went to law school and I think passed the bar or whatever the equivalent of that is in England. But then she gave that up and now she's a jewelry designer.
Oh, okay.
No, really, I'm being serious. She's not a lawyer anymore. She designs jewelry.
Oh, good for her. Yeah, but Meghan, she's also very American and she's a go-getter. Yeah. And she cares deeply, and she has that. It must have been so alluring to Harry that she just was a different type of person. I hear what Jackie is saying about her.
Yeah, I think Meghan was her own person when Harry met her. And that was what shocked him, was that, here's this woman who has it all together. I need to get my act together so I can be worthy of her.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, let's move on to the comments of the week. So we had that crazy story, which you covered, that Gwyneth Paltrow is selling a $75 votive candle called This Smells Like My Vagina. We are not making this up. If you haven't heard it yet, I'm sure you've heard it.
I still cannot believe that this smells like my vagina, not a vagina, my. She wanted us to think about this is how her vagina smells. Anyway.
Or maybe it's personalized for the user.
It's not.
That is apparently controversial. I saw that in the comments where people were like, they want the person to say it smells like their own vagina. Whatever. I'm not really sitting there smelling my... Oh. Arpeggi said on that post, Who spends $75 on a candle anyway? That price tag is more insulting than pretending a vag smells like bergamot and citrus.
This is true.
Yep. It's not even a big candle. It's a votive. I don't know. I didn't look at it, but come on.
That's like a comment of the week, too. It's just a votive.
It's just a votive. And like, okay, I was looking at the fancy candles on Amazon. And if you want to spend $15, you can get a really nice fancy candle that's like soy organic crap with some magic properties or whatever.
Yeah. I was just, where was it? I was like at a fair or something, and there was some guy who did like artisanal soy candles. That shit was expensive, but you got a really big candle. It was like $50 for this absolutely enormous soy organic whatever candle. Anyway.
And you know they made it by hand.
Yeah, exactly. I was talking to the guy who made it.
He's got to make a living. That's different. He's not making it smell like his balls.
Oh. This smells like my balls, and it's like just French vanilla.
This is my ass candle.
This is my tit sweat candle. Enjoy.
Okay.
All right, my comment of the week was about this is like my low-hanging fruit. It's just because I have to be able to say this. Diplo.
Oh.
I am insanely attracted to him, and I am so utterly ashamed about it. And so I wrote about Diplo's GQ profile, and I talked about my need to shame fuck Diplo. And Lara K responded with, "Oh, I'm in the same boat. If I was single and had the opportunity, I totally would jump him and never tell anyone. But yeah, I'm there, and I'm not proud of it." And then she goes on to like list other people that she would shame fuck. I don't think of Hugh Grant as a shame fuck. Do you?
No, he's not. He's still like, hey, I fucked Hugh Grant, you know. But Blake Shelton is a shame fuck.
Yeah, Blake Shelton is a shame fuck.
Even Gwen Stefani elevated him just a little bit, but not enough.
He's a shame fuck to you and me, but there are like a million Southern women who would not be ashamed of that at all.
Yeah. And then the only one on that list is Hugh Grant, but it's Diplo too. Like, he just has long hair and he's got that gold tooth and he looks all slimy.
I'm not proud of it. I cannot even explain it or justify it. I just would. I would. And...
You like dirt baggy, southern looking, what do they call it? Like wiry dudes. That's your type.
Well, he's got a good body though. Have you looked at Diplo's Instagram? He has a really good body.
He's okay. You know? He's not bald.
Oh, right. All right.
All right. Thanks for listening, bitches.
Thanks, bitches.
Thank you for listening to the Celebrity Podcast. If you like us, tell a friend. And if you rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen, it helps us out and we appreciate it a lot. Our phone number is 434-218-3219, where you can text us or leave a voicemail. Our music is from AA Alto, Maiden, and via Premium Beat and Sound of Picture. Thanks again. That was fun.
That was a good one.